Have you ever felt completely, utterly alone while you're in a room jam-packed with people? It's a weirdly common feeling, and in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly why that happens and, more importantly, what you can do about it.
I want you to picture this for a second. You're at a party, maybe you're surrounded by people you know, friends even. Everyone's laughing, talking, and you are too, on the outside. But inside, there's this massive disconnect. It's almost like you're watching a movie of your own life instead of actually living it.
Well, that feeling? It actually has a name. It's called the loneliness of presence. It's a total paradox, right? So what is really going on here when we feel this way?
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to make a super important distinction. We tend to mash up being alone with being lonely, but they're not the same thing at all. Being physically by yourself, that's just isolation. But what we're talking about here is emotional loneliness, and that has nothing to do with how many people are around you and everything to do with the quality of your connection to them.
To put it really simply, emotional loneliness is what happens when you just feel unseen. It's a signal that our fundamental human need for intimacy and for real understanding just isn't being met, even if our social calendar looks totally full.
Now, this feeling of being lonely in a crowd, it often hits a certain type of person the hardest. If you're someone who spends a lot of time in your own head, a deep thinker, this next part is probably going to sound very, very familiar.
There's this fantastic metaphor for it, feeling like you're starving at a banquet. Just think about that. You are surrounded by all this social abundance, all these people, but you can't find the emotional nourishment you're actually craving. It's just a profound, empty feeling. Think about conversations like this. There's the kiddie pool, and then there's the ocean. The kiddie pool is where most group chats happen. It's all small talk, gossip, what you did last weekend. It's easy, it's safe. But if you're someone who craves the ocean, that deep, substantial, maybe even vulnerable kind of conversation, then just splashing around in the shallows can feel so unfulfilling.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. It's not that your friends are shallow or that there's something wrong with you for wanting more. It's just a misalignment of depth. You're out there searching for the ocean while standing next to a group that's perfectly content in the kiddie pool, and neither one of those is wrong. They're just different.
So this misalignment of depth, it can lead us right into a trap. Because to try and bridge that gap, we start to perform, and we create this cycle that, ironically, just makes us feel even more alone. Let's break down exactly how that works.
But first, let's just quickly redefine the term fake friend. In this context, it doesn't mean someone who's out to get you or who's malicious. Nope. It's simply someone with whom you have zero authentic resonance. You just can't really be your true self around them, and that's where the problem begins.
So, the cycle kicks off when you feel like you have to hide what you really think or what you're really interested in just to fit in. You put on a social mask. You laugh at the right jokes. You nod along with the conversation. You basically perform a version of yourself that you hope will be accepted by the group.
And over time, that mask starts to harden. Hiding your authentic self becomes a habit, a reflex. The performance can become so automatic that you might even forget what it feels like to be totally genuine in that social circle. And here's the tragic part. The more you perform, the lonelier you feel. Why? Because the connection they have isn't with the real you, it's with the mask. So, in your attempt to belong, you've accidentally built a wall around yourself, reinforcing your own isolation. All right, so that's the problem. And I know it might sound a little bleak, but there is absolutely a way out of this. This isn't about fixing some flaw in your personality. It's about learning how to find the right frequency for your connections. So, let's look at some real, actionable steps to do just that.
The path forward really begins with 3 steps. First, just acknowledge the feeling, and do it without any shame. It's just data, a signal that you need something more. Second, start prioritizing the depth of your connections over the sheer number of them. And third, take a really honest look at who you're giving your precious social energy to.
Let's make that a little more concrete. Seeking depth over breadth could be as simple as suggesting a one-on-one coffee instead of a big group dinner. And when you audit your social circles, ask yourself, who leaves me feeling energized and seen? And who just fills the silence? It's all about being intentional.
And honestly, this might be the single most important thing to take away from all of this. Your need for deep connection, it is not a problem that you need to solve. It's just a preference. That's it. Think of it like a preference for genuine resonance over just a bunch of surface-level noise.
Here's a great way to think about it all. Imagine your social energy is like a radio. Being in a big crowd can be like being in a room where a dozen different stations are all playing at once.
It's just static, right? Just a lot of noise.
But see, if none of those stations are tuned to your specific frequency, all you're going to hear is that static. True connection isn't about how loud the noise is around you. It's about finally finding that one station that plays your song loud and clear.
So, the question I'll leave you with is pretty simple. What's your frequency? And remember, you don't need a whole room full of people to stop feeling lonely. You just need to find the one or two who are already tuned in to your station.